All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're diving into Nvidia's Fugato,
To Fugato.
this AI model that's got the whole tech world buzzing. Basically, picture this, turning words into sounds. Like magic, kind of.
Yeah.
You've got a mountain of articles, some even in French, all about how this thing could change music, language learning, even video games. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's definitely making some waves, but it goes beyond just making sounds. The really cool thing is that Fugato actually makes totally new sounds from scratch, just from what you type. Like you could describe a trumpet that sounds like a barking dog.
Whoa, hold on. A what?
A trumpet that sounds like a barking dog.
Okay, now that's just wild.
And Fugato could create it.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's like having like a sound engineer in your pocket who can make any crazy idea a reality.
Right.
But Fugato's not just about making funny sounds, is it?
No, not at all. It can create more traditional audio, too, like music, realistic soundscapes, that kind of thing. And get this, it can even change existing audio.
No way.
Yeah, so you could, like, add instruments to a song, change a singer's accent. You could even make someone's voice sound happier or sadder, all just by typing in commands.
So it's basically an incredibly powerful audio editor
Yeah.
built right into the AI.
Exactly.
That's got to be incredibly useful for, well, everyone, really.
Oh, absolutely. One of the articles talked about how Fugato can even make sounds that evolve over time, think of a thunderstorm rolling in.
Oh, I see.
That kind of dynamic audio would be amazing in a video game or a VR experience. Super immersive.
Totally. It'd be like you're actually right there in the middle of the storm.
Right.
Speaking of which, who's the mastermind behind this sonic wizardry?
Well, Fugato was developed by Nvidia.
Nvidia.
Yeah, the company that's really well known for graphics processing.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
But they've been doing more and more with artificial intelligence lately. And what's really interesting is that they had a whole global team of researchers working on Fugato. That's why it can handle so many different languages and accents. It's pretty impressive.
That makes a lot of sense. So with all this power at its fingertips, who stands to benefit the most from Fugato? What are people saying it could be used for?
Well, the articles mentioned a few possibilities. Musicians, for example, could use it to quickly try out different song ideas or experiment with new instruments.
It's like having an entire orchestra at your command. You could try any combination of instruments you can imagine.
Exactly. And then there's the potential for video games. Game developers could create soundscapes that react to what the player is doing, making the whole experience way more realistic and engaging.
Oh, I can totally see how that would be a game changer, literally.
Yeah.
What about using Fugato for language learning? Could it help people pick up a new language more easily?
That's one area a lot of the articles were really excited about. Imagine being able to practice speaking with an AI that can generate any language or accent you need. It's like having a personal tutor available 24/7.
That's incredible. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, let's put Fugato into context for a second. It's not the first AI that can generate audio from text, is it?
You're right. The articles did mention that Meta, Facebook's parent company, has released their own open source AI toolkit. It has some similar capabilities.
Interesting.
And then there's Google's Music LM, which specifically focuses on turning text into music.
So it sounds like there's a bit of a race going on to see who can create the most powerful text-to-audio AI.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be some competition heating up in this space.
Well, that's how innovation works, right?
Yeah.
There's always something new and exciting on the horizon.
That's true.
Speaking of horizons, what about the big picture? What are some of the bigger questions or implications of Fugato that people are discussing?
Well, one thing is that Nvidia hasn't announced yet if the public will be able to use Fugato.
Oh, really?
So we're all wondering, will it be a tool for everyone or just for professionals?
That's a big question. I imagine a lot of people are hoping it'll be available to everyone. It would unlock so much creative potential.
It would. But it also raises questions about potential misuse. What if someone used Fugato to create audio designed to mislead people or spread misinformation?
That's a valid concern. It seems like with any powerful new technology, there's always the potential for both good and bad uses.
Exactly. It's something we need to be mindful of as we explore the possibilities of AI like Fugato.
Okay, so let's bring you, our listener, into the conversation. You've heard us talk about all the amazing things Fugato can do, but what about you? What would you create with Fugato if you had the chance? Would you compose music, design sound effects, or maybe even create a personalized language learning experience? What would you do?
It's a pretty exciting thought, isn't it? Just imagine all the sounds you could bring to life with this technology.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We'll continue exploring the potential of Fugato and the future of audio in part 2 of this deep dive.
You know, when we were talking about Fugatto's potential in video games and VR, it got me thinking about how it could totally revolutionize Foley art.
Foley art.
Yeah,
Now, for our listeners who might not be in the know, Foley artists are the folks who create all those everyday sounds we hear in movies and TV shows.
exactly. Like footsteps, the rustle of clothing, a door creaking open, all those little sounds that make a scene feel real. And it's a very hands-on process. It takes a lot of time.
I bet. So how would Fugato change things for Foley artists?
Well, imagine if filmmakers could use Fugato to create those sounds just by describing them.
That would free up Foley artists to focus on more complex, unique sounds.
Right. And it's not just about saving time. Fugato could really open up a world of creative possibilities. Like, what if you could create sounds that are impossible to record in real life?
Whoa, that's pretty mind-blowing. You could create soundscapes unlike anything we've ever heard before.
Exactly. It'd be like taking Foley art to a whole new dimension. And it makes me think about other applications too, like education, for example. We were talking about Fugato's potential for language learning, but what about using it to create audio representations of complex concepts in other subjects?
So instead of just reading about something in a textbook, you could listen to a Fugato-generated explanation with sound effects that bring the concept to life.
Exactly. It could be a real game changer, especially for students who learn best through audio.
I like that. It seems like Fugato could be this multi-purpose tool for both learning and creativity, not just limited to one specific area.
Definitely. It really shows how AI is rapidly moving into new areas and changing the way we interact with everything around us, basically. What we're seeing with Fugato is just a glimpse of what's to come.
It's like we're on the cusp of a whole new era of audio creation.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's also important to remember that AI is, at the end of the day, a tool.
Mm.
It's up to us, the humans, to decide how we use it and what kind of future we want to create with it.
I totally agree. And that's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating. We're not just talking about some cool new tech. We're talking about its potential impact on our lives, our work, our creativity, everything.
You're absolutely right. It really makes you wonder, if AI can create any sound imaginable, what does that mean for the future of music, movies, even how we communicate? What does it mean for you, our listener?
That's the big question, isn't it? As we keep exploring the potential of Fugato and other AI tools, it's worth thinking about how this tech could change the way you create, consume, and experience sound in your own life.
Maybe even inspire you to try creating your own sonic masterpieces.
Hmm.
Who knows? You might just come up with the next big breakthrough in AI audio.
You never know.
But that's a conversation for other time.
Indeed. For now, let's dig a little deeper into what makes Fugato so unique. One thing that really jumped out at me from the articles was how Fugato actually tries to mimic the way humans perceive sound.
Well, that's really interesting. Can you expand on that a bit? What does it mean for an AI to understand sound the way we do?
Well, it means that Fugato isn't just crunching numbers and spitting out audio data. It's actually trying to replicate the whole complex process of how our brains process and interpret sound. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is. And if AI can really grasp the nuances of human hearing, what are the implications of that?
Well, it could change the way we think about communication, creativity, even consciousness itself. I mean, if AI can understand sound the way we do, it raises some serious questions about the boundaries between human and artificial intelligence.
Wow, that's getting pretty philosophical. It makes you realize we're just at the beginning of this AI journey. There's so much more to uncover and explore. But for now, let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Okay, so let's recap what we've learned. We've talked about Fugato's amazing capabilities, turning text into sound, creating those evolving soundscapes, potentially even mimicking human hearing. And we've touched on some of the potential applications, from music and video games to education and even Foley art.
We've also talked about the big questions and potential risks, like how to prevent misuse and make sure this technology is used responsibly.
Exactly. It's a lot to take in, but it's important to have these conversations and be aware of both the possibilities and the challenges of AI like Fugato.
For sure. So, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we'll leave you with a question to ponder. If you had access to Fugato, what would you create? What problems would you solve? What stories would you tell? Think about it, and we'll pick up this conversation in the final part of our deep dive. Honestly, it's kind of crazy to think about how fast things are changing in the audio world. Like just a few years back, an AI creating realistic sounds from text would have been pure science fiction.
Yeah, totally.
Now here we are talking about Fugato and all the things it could do.
And we're just getting started, really. The pace of AI innovation is it's incredible.
It is. So what's exciting is we're still in those early stages of figuring out what AI can bring to the table for, audio creation.
Right.
Who knows what breakthroughs are coming next? Maybe AI will be composing symphonies or writing hit songs. Or maybe we'll have these personalized audio experiences where you can listen to the news in your favorite celebrity's voice.
The possibilities are, well, pretty much endless at this point. And I think it's important to keep in mind that AI isn't about replacing human creativity.
Right.
It's more about giving, artists and musicians new tools, new possibilities, letting them push the boundaries even further.
It's like giving them a whole new set of colors to paint with, but for sound.
Exactly. And it's not just about creating new sounds either. AI can also help us understand and appreciate the sounds we already have, but in totally new ways.
Mm.
Imagine being able to analyze a piece of music and instantly know all the instruments, melodies, harmonies, all that.
That would be amazing for, well, everyone, really. Musicians, producers, music historians.
Oh, yeah. And think about the applications even beyond music. Speech recognition, audio forensics, environmental monitoring. All these fields could benefit from that kind of AI-powered analysis.
For sure. It's pretty clear that Fugato and other AI like it have this huge potential to change how we create, consume, interact with sound in so many ways.
It really is. It's a fascinating time to be, following all this as it's happening.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Fugato, let's leave you with one final thought.
Yeah.
You've heard about what this AI can do, the sounds it can create, the industries it could change, even the philosophical questions it brings up.
Yeah. Now we want you to think about how you would use this tech if you had the chance.
What kind of impact would you want to make? What sounds would you bring to life? It's something to think about as you go about your day. Who knows, maybe your ideas will spark that next big innovation in AI audio.
Maybe so.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another exciting exploration of the world around us.
See you then.
Until then, happy listening, everyone.